Harriet and the Spaghetti Snake by Tracy Kushwaha. In a big yellow house, there lives a good little girl with a big imagination that almost always gets the best of her. Imagination is a wonderful thing, but sometimes it can run wild. Such is the case with dear Harriet. One day, Harriet was sitting with her family, eating dinner. She frowned, staring down at her plate.
I don't like spaghetti.
Well, at least you should try, because you're not leaving the table until you do, her mother replied. As Harriet sat, her mind began to wander, and it wasn't long before she found herself riding a horse in a desert. The sun was beating down on her, and her horse needed water badly, and so did she. Off in the distance, she could see some palm trees and water gleaming in the sunlight. Jumping from the horse, she ran towards it. Not suspecting that this was no ordinary watering hole, this was home to the giant, dreaded spaghetti snake. As she drank the water, it began to bubble, and rising from the depths, a beast standing taller than the trees. A snake made entirely out of spaghetti. Harriet could hardly believe her eyes. It looked down at her with enormous, meatball-like eyes from behind glasses that appeared to be made from forks. On top of its head, it wore a napkin, much like the headdress desert nomads wear. Harriet knew that she had to act fast. Turning on her heel, she ran back to her horse to grab some rope. She would lasso the beast. She fashioned her lasso, spinning it over her head. She let it go. The lasso slipped over the beast's head. Harriet pulled tight as the snake began to thrash wildly. She held on with all her might. "Harriet, what on earth are you doing?" Snapping back into reality, she found herself standing on her chair, holding a fistful of spaghetti. Poor Harriet felt very embarrassed.
Sorry, Mama.
Harriet sat back down and wiped her hands on the napkin. Harriet's mom began gathering the dishes. "When I come back, I expect to see your plate clean, and no more playing," she added. Once again, Harriet was alone, and it didn't take long before she imagined herself in the desert. This time, she was greeted by a tall, bald man wearing a gold earring and blue harem pants.
Greetings, Harriet. I am Sunji, captain of the guard.
How do you know my name?
Harriet asked in amazement.
Everyone knows who you are. Everyone has heard of the great acts of Harriet the Brave. We are so glad that you have come. We have been searching everywhere for you. The horrible spaghetti snake has taken our princess. I fear that you are the only one that can save her. Defeat the beast, and His Grace Prince Yakalot will reward you handsomely. Anything you desire shall be yours,"
said Sunji. Harriet liked the sound of this. She could imagine herself sitting on top of the mountain of gold and rubies. Just beyond the trees, she heard screams. Grabbing a sword, both her and the captain of the guard ran towards the sound. Upon arrival, they found the spaghetti snake and the princess trapped in its coils. It flicked its forked tongue back and forth at her face.
Let her go.
Harriet said, with gathering all of her courage. The snake loosened its grip on the princess and she wriggled free from its slimy grasp. Now the beast seemed angry. Quick as a flash, it used its tail to disarm the captain of the guard, taking his sword. Harriet jumped into action. The sound of the swords clashing went on for hours. But in the end, the spaghetti snake was no more, and Harriet and her new friends had a great spaghetti feast in her honour. Harriet, you ate all your spaghetti, her mother said.
Yes, I did. And it was good too.
If you enjoyed this video, then why not buy the book and read along? Find out more about Harriet and her adventures on Amazon.com. Just click the link in the description below.